Hi everyone, I'm Rick Zanotti and this is Tech Down Over. Today I want to talk about something nobody's really talking about, and that's dual card slots. Are they really all that necessary? Now, before we start, I'm actually shooting this on two different cameras. The one you're looking at right now is the XF405 from Canon. It's a camcorder. Now let's switch over to the other one. That is the Panasonic GH5, which is obviously a camera, which has dual card slots. Now, let's talk about dual card slots. I personally like having a dual card slot. Why? Because if I want to do video filming and I want to do a backup of everything I'm filming, then it's nice because I can make one card record what the other one is recording. That makes sense. Then you have a backup. If anything goes wrong, if you're doing any kind of event photography or event videos, photography, or anything else, you want that backup. Now, here's the caveat. Here's where things get funny. For example, if you have let's say you have one card slot. For example, the Canon EOS R, the new mirrorless full frame that's coming out next week. With that camera, you only get one card slot, and everybody's going, well, that one card slot, we're going to die. Not really. How many of you, raise hands, anybody out there, raise those hands. How many of you record to an Atomos Ninja, or an assassin, or a samurai, or whatever they want to call each model? Well, on most cameras, if you want to record at a higher level, let's say, for example, on the Panasonic GH5, which is a very popular filming camera, I'm on that right now. If I want to record this in 10-bit 422, I can do that to an external recorder via the HDMI. However, when I do that, I can't record to the internal card or cards, either one. So here I'm in a case where I have two card slot plus an external recorder, but if I want 10-bit 422, which the GH5 will do, but only to external, I can't record to anything else. There will be no backup of what I'm doing. Therefore, I don't care how many card slots I have none. I can only use the external. And if you say, well, yeah, but it doesn't matter because an SSD is much safer than, not really. SSDs crash too. Everything crashes. It's just that they crash less. And they're less susceptible to crashing because of manipulation or sitting on them, stepping on them, biting them in the case of a dog. I know somebody who actually flew to Brazil, did a video, came back and his dog ate his chip. It's not good. It can happen. You know, SSDs are a little bit harder to eat, I guess. But seriously, you've got a dual card slot and you're only recording to an external source. You don't have redundancy. You could probably buy a splitter, a powered splitter, and get the signal to go to two places. But now you've got more complications on your rig, and if you're running gunning, forget it. It's not going to work because you've got too much stuff already you're carrying around. So what do? Nothing. You shut up like everybody's been doing, and you don't even say anything about it because nobody's complaining about that. So when people say, well, that camera only has one card slot. Sony's only had one card slot for years until last year. Well, not that many people complained about it. If they were recording externally, they only recorded to one usually. Some cameras will record to two different places. For example, the Canon C200 will record, I think the 200 and the 300 will record a high bit, 10-bit, or even higher sometimes, 422, but internally it will record 8-bit 420, so less color space. But it can do both. At least you have a working backup, a workable backup. But a lot of cameras, especially the smaller cameras, won't. So when you start complaining and thinking and screaming out loud about two card slots versus one card slot, in the case of a GH5, it doesn't matter. If you're going external and you want the highest color output. In most cases, if you're shooting corporate video or if you're shooting For YouTube, you don't need 10-bit 422 unless you just want to edit in that, and then you just down sample it afterwards when you publish or upload to YouTube. But in most cases, that's most of us. If you're doing high-end cinema work, you probably have the resources to have multiple backups, separate cameras, dual exporting to different devices. So it's not a problem. I think you can even daisy chain some of these devices. So you could go internal into one Ninja, for example, or Atomos device into a second one. So you could actually record from one to the other. So that covers you up on backups. You just have a heavier rig, or if you're on tripod, who cares? So the thing is, having a dual card slot is a great convenience if you have two cameras. If you have two similar slot cards and you are not recording to 10-bit 422. That's the issue. Most of us don't need that, so it's not an issue. The one card slot will work as well as two, you just can't back it up. If you go to HDMI out, you may be able to back it up by going to HDMI. Actually, on the, let's see, I'm not sure on the GH5 if you can record in 1080p. I think you can. You can record, because I've done it. You can record 1080p to an Atomos device and 1080p internal. So there's your backup. If you have a one, and this is when I was recording with the GH4. So I was backing up to my Atomos and I was recording internally. So you can do that on some cameras. But keep in mind, not all cameras will let you record to both sources at the same time, especially lower end cameras. They don't have the firepower to do that. So anyway, what do you think? What do you think about that? Is that something that you run into all the time? Is this something that you struggle with, or that you don't sleep at night because of? When you're shooting videos, if you only have a one card slot, period, a little bit of anxiety will occur because things can and will go wrong. I have only lost 2 cards in my life shooting video. 2. Fortunately, they weren't that important, but 2 of them did go bad on me. And they were actually SanDiscs, the gold standard supposedly. They're the only 2 I ever had go bad. And other than that, my cards have been great. Haven't had an issue. When I shot with tape way back in the old prehistoric times, about 12, 13 years ago, wasn't that long ago, tape was used for many, many, many years. Tapes went bad too, and they were nasty when they went bad because they could get unwound, they could get scratched, a tape could tear. Not fun. And on most camcorders, you had 1 tape, not 2, 1. So what did you do? You recorded to an external deck sometimes. But again, that caused more expense and more weight to your rigs, if you will. There weren't really that many rigs back in those days. So anyway, if you are really that concerned about 2 card slots, think about it. Is it that much of a problem? There are options for it if you only have 1. For Tech Down Over, I'm Rick Zanotti. Let me know what you think. I'm really curious. Am I the only one who doesn't care that much about this? Or am I making sense? Or do you think I'm totally insane? Probably totally insane anyway, but look forward to hearing from you. We will see you later on this week in another Tech Down Over episode. We've got Emily from Micro 4 Nerds. She's a Micro Four Thirds lover. She loves Micro Four Thirds. She'll be fun. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.